This video is meant to give a high-level overview of the sandbox, and basically the sandbox is an environment that you can either test existing forms, you can develop new forms there, you can even use it to restore data that may have been accidentally deleted and you need to recover that either just to download or possibly recreate the data back in your production environment. So once you have the Sandbox add-on, you're going to see it pop up underneath this company menu here. And basically we'll just go ahead and click on the Sandbox link. This is going to take us to a new page, and it does use our iFormBuilder login, so we don't have to log in again, but you will go to a new screen. And the screen is pretty simple. Basically we have a drop-down menu here which allows us to pick a slot that we want to restore our data into. In this example we just have one, so we'll go ahead and select that. And then down below here we actually have a date selection window. This allows us to pick either today's data, or we can select any time up to 2 weeks prior. So you'll notice that all of these options are available to us. Anything that's grayed out, we don't have a backup for. So we're actually just going to pick today, and down below you'll see that there's actually a list of companies. Now, the reason I see this list of companies is because the user that I'm logged in with is a server admin, and they're able to view all of those companies. If I was only logged in as a company admin user, then I would only be bound to the company that I belong to. So I would not see any other choices in the drop-down menu if I was a company admin, only if I'm a server admin. The box below allows us to basically put a very simple password lock here, and this is just to keep me from bumping into colleagues or from colleagues from dropping my work in the middle of what I'm doing. And so this is just a way to keep us safe while we're using this tool. You'll notice that my username is pre-populated here, as well as the email address. So the field down here is actually editable, and if you needed to change this for any reason, if your email address was wrong, you have the flexibility to do so. And so that's it. Basically now I click the Go button, and you'll see a notification telling me that once the backup is complete and my data has been restored, I'm going to get an email notification letting me know that everything's all right. If for some reason it would fail, I would get an email notification saying that it failed, and it would also tell me why it failed. Most commonly it's because there's not a backup found, or maybe there's some trouble making a connection to the backup facility. So this shouldn't take very long. Depending on the amount of data that you have in the profile, it could take anywhere from a few seconds all the way up to a few minutes. I've seen some accounts take it upwards of 15 minutes. Usually if you have a form or two with a couple million rows, it's going to take a while. The nice thing is that we can actually walk away from this at this time. We don't have to wait and keep the screen active. Basically, we're going to get the email notification letting us know when it's all done, and from that point on we can just basically come back and everything would be good. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh here. It should be probably done. And so you'll notice that down below here, we actually have a table showing the currently used positions. So in this case, we only have one. You'll notice I can't select anymore. That's it. We're only allowed one for this particular demo. But what you see down below is the slot that I've basically selected earlier, the profile that I picked from, and as well as the request date, the date the data is restored from, and who's locked down this position. And this is actually a way that I can unlock this position so we can recycle it when I'm all done with whatever it is that I need to do. Building new forms, testing an integration, whatever it may be. When I'm finished, I can recycle this and allow it to be used by somebody else. You also notice too that there's a link here that basically says go to site. And so by clicking on go to site, you're going to see it redirects you to your sandbox environment. Now, this is an exact copy of production. Either based on the current data or the previous backup that you selected. So the same username and password that you're going to use in production is going to be used here. And so once we get logged in, we'll notice that everything else looks and feels exactly like the production environment, but the primary thing that we can tell to differentiate this is the domain here. You'll have the sandbox and then the slot number. So at this point I can make changes, I can delete things, I can add stuff. It is completely isolated from production, so anything I do here doesn't impact it. It's really a safe place to test new ideas or try things out that you're really not comfortable doing on production, or if you need to make a modification to a live form. This is the best place to get more comfortable before you go ahead and make those changes. So we can play here as long as we need to. There's no time restriction for how long you can hold a position. You may get some colleagues asking you to recycle this or to let them use it, but there's no time restriction there. Just to give you an idea what the email looks like, this is one that failed before, so basically there was no backup for that day. Here's one that we actually did earlier, or just now, sorry. So you can see that, very simple email just letting us know that the import was successful. The last thing I want to show is basically when you're all done and you come back to the screen, you just enter your PIN code or your password and you hit the unlock button. And that will basically recycle this position. So now myself or anybody else that has access to the sandbox can come in here and select a new, select a new backup. So we'll just say, oops, I think I had to refresh. But yeah, basically you'll be able to come in here, reload this whole thing, and be ready to go. So I hope that helps.